in my family, but you're in good hands with Kim. So I'll
Well, thanks, Jamie. You're putting a lot of pressure on me, but all right. I'm Kim Ketch, Jamie Martell. So we'll go over the college app process, and then we'll have a small break, and Mila Tappan will come in and share some new changes to the FAFSA and update us on that. So I'm going to share my screen, bear with me, and show you the document that we share with our students here, your kiddos. Just hold on one second. All right, cross your fingers. Yay, it's there. Okay. All right. Can somebody just give me a shout out? Can you see that?
Yep, it works.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is what we call our college application packet, or college senior packet. So this is what any students that we have that are in our our concurrent enrollment Success 101 class they've gone through this. They know it. I think all of them back so far, which is awesome. And for those students who aren't in our class, we've offered 8 different sessions last week to go through that same process. Some students if your student hasn't been able to attend one of the 8 sessions that we did, we call them senior seminars, they can email us, and we'll see how many we have, and we might have like a makeup session, or we'll work with the students one-on-one to go through the same things that we share in our class. So what you're looking at right now is just kind of the cover sheet. So students put their name, they put down any colleges that they think they may apply to. It's not a hard and fast document, so they might put colleges down there that they don't end up applying to. That's fine. This is just kind of a a start for us to kind of look at where they're applying, so we can be aware of maybe some like deadlines, things like that. If many students put the colleges on there, and then they also apply to things they didn't put on there, and that's absolutely fine. They don't need to update it. We just kind of roll with it. But it gives us a little snapshot. So we're really good with like the colleges that are pretty familiar in Maine, or that most students apply to, as far as their deadlines. But there are some like out-of-state deadlines that are a little bit different as far as getting their applications in. So we really stress to students to be aware of, like, if you are going to apply somewhere, know the deadline. And if you can't find it, come see us, because we will find that for you. Most deadlines, like University of Maine, is pretty standard for a December 1 deadline for their application. So that means their application is due by then, as well as like our recommendation letters, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But pretty standard. Hudson has what's called a rolling admission. So they kind of look at applications as they come in. Eastern Maine Community College, again, rolling admissions. So, but there are some out-of-state colleges. I think one of the earliest deadlines that I've had, maybe I want to say like October 15th, but usually deadlines are like, November 1 is a popular deadline with colleges. December 1 is a popular deadline with colleges. So it's a great conversation piece to have with your student, is just, have you looked at your deadlines? When are they? And then you can, as they love us doing as parents, harp on them to get those in. Do you want to go over that, James?
Sure. this is a scan of last year's sheet by the looks of things, but your student or child has updated version of this so this is just a reference sheet for them to keep to utilize as they're filling out an application, because there'll be a lot of questions asked that they may not know the answer to. So like their graduation date, their class size, that's at the top, and then Mrs. Ketchen, my contact information, because they'll need to enter that, especially if they use the Common App, which will explain what that is towards the end. But and we always point out, like, be careful of spelling, entering our emails in, so we get the contacts from the school. And then our grading scale is 100 points, because that'll be often asked in a college application. So our GPA scale, it's also weighted. Our class rank is exact. We've checked with all the students who've done the seminars and gotten this information. They know how to get their rank and their GPA off their transcripts on Infinite Campus. And then our course scheduling, even though it can be a little bit confusing because we have quarters still, we're really on a semester schedule. So this is just for them to keep and reference back as they're filling in applications. Then the next sheet is and the packets, as you'll see as we scroll through, it's kind of color coded, but so the white ones are for the student to fill out. And this is just information gathering. These packets are just an internal process. It just goes to whoever their school counselor is, so me or Kim Ketchen. We use the information to do a well-rounded recommendation letter. So, but they don't have to worry about going outside of us seeing this. These are just some questions that we want them to answer. Describe their college and career goals. It's absolutely okay if all they know is they want to go to college. If that's all they know, that's all they know. We have students that go to college just undeclared or undecided, but if they do have an idea of what they want to do, if they could mention it there. And then describe personal qualities that are most important to success in college. So what do they think that they're bringing there? And then what are your academic strengths and talents? And describe activities that you especially enjoy inside and outside of school. We have an activity sheet next, but this is a place where what do they especially enjoy? It doesn't have to be school related. And then what do you like best about yourself, and what are you most proud of? I know that's hard for them to answer sometimes, but it's really important to get their perspective. And then this section can be used in a couple of different ways. What information would you like me to include on your recommendation? Sometimes it's as simple as a student saying, highlight how many STEM classes I took, or something like that. Other times it could be a little more serious if maybe they never failed a class, but they have like one failing grade on there and they'd like it explained as to what happened. Or if they have one semester that was particularly rough because they had a life experience, a loss or something, that they would like explained in their letter, then they can mention it there. Of course, we're going to use our judgment on if it's appropriate or not to include, but if they put it on there and we think it's appropriate, then it's kind of like their permission to include it. Not everybody's going to have something that heavy, but if you have something, you can go ahead and mention it there. And then the school activities. So we don't have an official log of this. So we need each student to fill this out, because again, they'll input a lot of this into their application, but it's important for us to know for our recommendation letter. So work experience, anything that was paid, even if it wasn't for a business or a company, if they were paid to mow lawns all summer, they should really put it down. School year employment or summer employment, they can write down the grade. We've told them ignore the PG, that just means post-grad. It's not applicable here, but colleges really look upon work experience heavily. Sometimes students will say, I didn't participate in things, all I did was work. Well, there's a lot of transferable skills there. So that's important to put on there. And then the community volunteer experience, that's anything that they've done that they didn't benefit from or get paid for. So if they, shoveled for an elderly person, or, even the stuff, if they're in Key Club, if they've done volunteer hours or service hours for honors diploma, as long as they didn't benefit in any way. So example we like to give the students is if they're on a sports team and they did a bottle drive to get new warm-ups, then that doesn't really count because the team benefited. But if they did a bottle drive to benefit the Cancer Society, then that is volunteer. So anything that they've done to volunteer their time. And then school clubs and activities can be a plethora of things, even outside activities or clubs. Important to put on. We have some students that are Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, different outside, youth groups for church, but NHS, student council, key club, things like that can be listed there, especially listed.
Robotics, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, robotics.
Uh,
Would we have art club and stuff like that. So if they held an office in that club, they could list it. And then honors and awards, anything from, perfect attendance, student of the month, honor roll. It's a good place to note if they're getting a diploma of distinction. So STEM diploma, honors diploma, or humanities diploma. So that is highlighted, any award they want to put there. And then music, theater, visual arts, if they've been in any productions inside or outside of school, list the productions. Publications, we don't have a ton. We do have yearbooks. So if they were part of yearbook club, they could list it. But if they were part of something outside of school, important to list there too. And then athletics, again, travel teams outside of school, that should be included, as well as school athletics. They should put their position, but also, varsity letter. But if they were captain or co-captain, anything like that should be recorded there. They can indicate if they plan on or hoping to participate in college as well. So we have an idea of that. Make sure we stress to them too, they really just want to highlight all of this information over the last 4 years. Nothing like middle school or pre-high school, unless it was like a lifelong activity. Some students have been in Boy Scouts since they were 5 and are still in it. Then that's fine to note because that shows dedication. But
Also, if they've made like some like state recognition or like regional recognition, so PVC, first team, second team, honorable mention. If they've made like this state, like any state recognition, that's something definitely to be noted there as well.
And then the hobbies and special interests, they might be involved or interested in a lot of things that aren't listed above. So if they, list whatever, is it cooking, traveling, four-wheeling, whatever they're particularly interested in could be noted there.
Absolutely. And that's just as important as some of the, athletics and academic accolades. Like, what are some cool things they're interested in? It tells a lot about their personality. Do they, like to knit? Are they outdoorsy? Do they like to fish and snowmobile and do these things? Are they an avid reader? So all these things kind of just again help us to write an awesome letter for your students. Our job is to help highlight all the cool things about them, and we take it really seriously. Our goal is the same as theirs, is to get into whatever college or institution that they want to get into. So we want to help them do that. So all right, so this is we love colors in our in guidance, for it helps to like figure things out. But these literally are called the blue forms. So this is we give students two of these forms. They can ask for more if they want more. These go directly to teachers. Like the students will fill out the top part just with their name, if they know or have an idea of where they want to apply to, possibly what they want to major in. I tell kids, don't stress. It's okay if you say, not sure yet. I just know I want to go to a 4-year school, or I know I want to go to a 2-year school, and that the major could be undecided. That is perfectly okay. So they ask the teachers, hey, do you mind filling this out? And again, this is different from a teacher letter of recommendation, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we talk about like the common application. This is just a form that goes to Jamie or myself with information that teachers will write about students in their class. So, what class did you have them in? And teachers write some really cool things, and we will steal them. So if they say something like really awesome, because they have a different lens that they see the kids than we do. So we will often, take quotes out of there and incorporate them into our letters of recommendation. So students can give them to teachers. And teachers, once they give them away to teachers, they won't see them again. The teachers will directly give them to us. But they could also give them to coaches, or if they've had a job for 4 or 5 years and they have a good relationship with their employer, they can give them to those people as well. They'll need to get them back to give to us. But teachers will directly give them right back to us. And we'll list, like, there's some teachers that have students as they have them as teachers, but they also might be a coach. Like, Mr. May is a great example, had him for these classes, but also with, as, my soccer coach. So that's kind of a great dual role. Typically, colleges are looking for information from, like, if they think about teachers, really their junior, senior year teachers. If they've had teachers that they've had like numerous years, those are great ones to ask to fill these out. If we tell students, if you're going into a STEM field, great idea to have one of your STEM teachers fill that out. Or if you're going into something that's in a kind of a English related field, having your English teacher fill that out. So that's kind of some information we give to them about these recommendations. There's some ratings here that teachers will check off. One thing that I do want to stress is that if they gave a teacher one of these forms, and a teacher doesn't like rate them highly on whatever, we're not going to add that to our letter. We're not keeping that in our letter. We're going to highlight all the cool things, all the awesome things, and all the highlights. So I would just kind of ignore those pieces and highlight all the awesome thing, or we would highlight all the awesome things about your student. So we would kind of just like not incorporate anything kind of negative. We tell the kids, like, even if they've ever had detentions, because sometimes they get to this point, they're like, oh, I had a detention, like, no, I got suspended. No, unless it's something like hugely significant. And I haven't, and Jamie and I haven't met a student yet that we didn't feel comfortable writing a recommendation letter for. If that happened, then we would have a conversation and say, I don't think I'm the best person to write this, but we haven't come up with it yet, and I don't expect to at all. So like I said, we're just, we want to highlight all the awesome things about your student. All right, so some of you may have seen these. This is the big sheet. So this goes to parents, guardians, just significant adults, because not everybody is with their parent. So students give this to a significant adult in their life, and it's your turn to brag. We tell people, and it's hard for the students because they grow up and we're saying, like, it's not polite to brag about yourself. And now we're putting them in a position where we're like, brag away. Like, let's write all the awesome things about you. So this is a chance for you guys to do this. And we try to give some little prompty things to maybe think about. But significant adults say really awesome things. This is the kids are like, oh, you're so cheesy, but these are like some of my favorite things to read. I laugh, I cry, you have such an awesome perspective on your student. And just, again, it's just another lens. And I unabashedly will steal your stuff. So if you say something, and Jamie will too, if you say something that really is like, oh my God, that is so awesome, like we're going to steal it and we're going to incorporate it into their letter. But we thoroughly enjoy these. The students like to, you know, love that you have homework too that you need to get in. So this is the pink sheet. So they might kind of harass you about that in getting that in. So
If email works better, that's fine, as long as you mention that it's the brag sheet and for who, like your student's name, because sometimes the email doesn't come through with a matching last names or whatever. So just if that works better, that's fine.
absolutely. Thank you for saying that. For those that are in our success class, for those students of your students that we have, their their stuff is in. There might be some pink sheets, some like guardian sheets still, or significant adults sheets still out. Just get them to us as soon as you can. They have gotten their sheets in. For those students that have come to our seminars or that we've met with one-on-one, we're asking if those could come in by, I think it's October 13th, right?
Yep.
With
Yep.
calendar, Jamie. So just kind of keeping that deadline in mind of October 13th. And we drive them nuts because we'll email them, we'll message them on Remind to say, hey, don't forget October 13th, you need to get this in. So now you know that date and you can annoy them for us too. So we appreciate that.
If your kid didn't attend a senior seminar and you talk to them about this and they're like, I don't know what this is, they need to come see us. We're working on a makeup session, but to get a letter of recommendation that's not generic, they have to do this process. So they need to come find out the process and get the paperwork if they haven't attended a seminar.
Absolutely. And it's as simple as, you driving them nuts and having them email us and say, hey, I missed the senior seminar. Like, can we connect and have an appointment? And we can go over, we can do this one-on-one with students. So sometimes it goes a little bit quicker too. It's nice to see their faces and touch base with them. Another thing that we didn't mention is even students in our success class, as well as students outside, we also kind of require them to like have a meeting with us outside of class or outside of the senior seminars, just to make sure things are in line. Like, all right, like just guiding them, like, all right, what are we looking at? What are we majoring in? Let's take a look at this. And we share the same resources that we share in our class, and I'll show you kind of the resources later on, is available to all students. We offer those up, just like tips and tricks and sites to like do some like career research and, yeah, just some research on colleges and majors, things like that. So even though they're not in our class, we're doing the same exact thing with students anytime. We tell kids all the time, hey, if and they take us up on it. If you need to meet with us once and things are cool, that's awesome. If you need to meet with us 50 times, we'll meet with you 50 times. That's our job. We'll take you through that process, and make sure that they feel good about what's going on and things that are going on and any questions that they have. And I would say the same to you. Don't hesitate to reach out, shoot us an email if you have questions. I remember I was a senior parent a couple times, and I had kind of this under my belt, so I could annoy my kids personally at home, but happy to annoy your kids and help out and answer any questions and alleviate any kind of stress for parents as well. Did you want to talk about the gold sheet?
Sure. This is sometimes it's a orangey sheet, but if the student refers to it as the gold sheet, that's what everybody knows it by. Mrs. St. Louis, our secretary, keeps them on her desk so they're easily accessible. Super important part of the process. This is how we know they've applied to college and that we need to do and send our stuff. Without this, we don't know. And can't send our stuff. And we hold the students to that because we use this for tracking, but also again, we don't know what we don't know. So they have to fill one of these out for us to submit our stuff. It's as simple as putting their name on it and putting where they applied, the major, the deadline, and if they used Common App. There's spaces for like 5 different schools. If they sat down one weekend and applied to several, they can come in and do one gold sheet. If they applied to one school and it's going to be a little while before they apply to another, they can come in and do separate gold sheets. They can do as many gold sheets as they need to. But once they fill this out, Mrs. St. Louis tracks it for us and gives it to Mrs. K Catch or myself, and then we get their stuff submitted. We don't want to get our stuff there before they've applied or anything like that. So it's really important that they've actually applied, then they do the gold sheet, then we send our stuff. And it's highlighted, we mentioned deadlines earlier, but that they need to be doing the gold sheets in enough time, because their deadlines are our deadlines and we're working with lots of students. So that we have enough time to get it out and meet the deadline as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so gold sheet, super important step, and we've stressed that to them as well.
And it's, I mean, they can fill out, some kids fill out a few of these. So I might apply to Eastern Maine Community College tonight. I'd come into guidance, get a gold sheet, fill it out. But maybe 2 days later, I apply to, I don't know, BU or Husson or whatnot. I apply to a couple other colleges. I'd get another gold sheet and put those on there as well, so they can fill out as many gold sheets as they need to. So, all right. So
you want to start with the back, I guess. Yeah, this is a brochure.
You have to tilt your head for this one. This is like, little engagement activity of stretching your neck. So we give these to students as well. So this is kind of our college app process. Again, just it goes over a lot of kind of what we told you, but there is just another resource for you. Your students have gotten this too if they are in our class or have come to a seminar. So we're typically this is folded into a nice brochure, so we're kind of going backwards a little bit. So I'll point this out and then I'll scroll back the other way and go forward. But here's some useful links we were chatting about. The Common App, we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is kind of the link to get there. College Board that we know and love. This is how they sign up for SATs if they wanted to sign up for SATs. College Greenlight Futures, these are two kind of cool resources if a student still is kind of undecided about where they want to go, what they want to major in. And it's really neat because you can enter, there's all these different filters, which is kind of awesome. So you can enter, even subjects, things that you're interested in. I want to stay in New England. I want a small, medium, a large school. And I want to major in this. And it will spit out colleges that have, that major and that fit your whatever filters that you set. So that's a really neat resource for students. I won't infringe on Mila because she is the expert on the FAFSA ID and the FAFSA. I will put a plug in students who are in our class, in our CE Success class. We will make student FSA IDs in our class. So please don't worry about that and do that. But Milo will talk about like parents making their own. And then Milo will talk more about just the FAFSA in general and how to access that. Just some more contact information for Jamie and I. And I apologize if I make you dizzy. So oh no.
This is the inside of it.
Okay, here we go.
Scroll up just a little bit. Because that's the folded in the recommendation piece. That just goes over explaining what we're writing, the letter for, and then answering the question, can I see my letter or my child's letter? And the answer is generally no. And here's why. When they apply, it typically asks them to waive their right to see their letter, because colleges want to know that it's an unbiased, true letter, that we weren't paid off, bribed, threatened, whatever. So once they waive their right, we're ethically and professionally bound to follow that. And so they can't see their letter. But as we mentioned earlier, the point of the letter is to promote their strengths, to shine them in the best light, to help them get into college. It's all accurate information, but everybody has strengths. And we do spend a lot of time, as you can see through this process, in individualizing the recommendations. We're here to help them get in. So they're always going to be a positive letter. If we ever encountered a situation where we felt we couldn't, as Kim mentioned, we'd have a conversation, but we have yet to run into that. So don't stress that you can't see it or they can't see it. And keep in mind, this is the same letter that we use if they need a recommendation for a scholarship. So there's other ways around that, because they still can't see the letter. But we have a lot of contacts and can get them the letters to scholarships directly, or we can give them in sealed envelopes. And so we have ways for that, but we just like to explain that so it doesn't feel bad to anybody. Um, Getting help, it references again the financial aid. We have a specialist that we'll talk about in that half of the evening, but don't hesitate to ask for help either through this process for financial aid. We are not financial aid experts, but we do have people that help us and can help you get it done. So don't hesitate to reach out.
And actually, we can put in a plug because usually, so Meredith Lee is she's our lady. She's amazing. She works for the University of Maine. And your student does not have to go to the University of Maine to have access to her. So come, I don't know, within the next probably couple of months at least, well, when Milo will talk about the FAFSA opening up a little bit later this year, Meredith will reach out to us, and she'll have all these appointments that she'll make available, and she will work with students and you parents, especially if it's your first kind of go around. I know how kind of daunting that I was there. The FAFSA, I make my husband do that piece. The FAFSA is sometimes, although I think it's been, I was going to talk about it being like streamlined and like simplified, which is awesome. But yeah, Meredith Lee. So we'll put that out to you in parent emails on Remind. We'll let the students know, but she typically does a lot of virtual like meetings, and she schedules them in a half hour. You kind of bring your tax information. We'll have a little checklist of things to do, prior to the meeting, just a few things. And she has that done in a half hour. She's amazing. And especially if there's kind of some like, just kind of maybe some unusual circumstances, whether it's, adoption or, students living with this person or that, like she's amazing. She knows all the ins and outs. Like, we're experts in the college application process, and Meredith is our hero, and Mila is our hero with the FAFSA process. So I highly recommend taking the time. When those appointments come out, we'll get them out to you, and making a Zoom appointment. She does meet in person too, if needed. She'll come right to our school, and you could meet her there. So she's super flexible. I can't say enough. She's awesome. So, all right, this kind of going backwards, but we kind of went over this. So typically, like, the process is of applying to colleges, doing the application. So this is where the Common App comes in, or the student will apply directly through the school. We typically say, if a student is going to a community college, love their application. It is like a 15-minute application, no essay needed, super quick. And the student will go directly, like if I was applying to Eastern Maine Community College, I literally would go on Eastern Maine's website. There's a huge like yellow, just did this with a student today, huge yellow apply. You click that, and you're good to go in within like 15 minutes. It's awesome. And that's any community college in Maine, very, very similar. If a student was applying to, I would say at least two or more four-year colleges, our recommendation is to use what's called the Common Application. And that resource was, we kind of first saw that there's a website, and we will do this in our class. So we tell our kids in our class, like, don't start it. It's part of our class. We'll rock and roll and do that in class. Jamie and I typically in the past have held, especially for students not in our class, like common app sessions where students can come in. We'll probably do these maybe during Coyote time, where students could come in and we can help them work through the Common App as well. We usually do that every year. So the Common App is kind of cool. It's kind of this like one-stop shopping application where they fill out a whole bunch of a whole bunch of information about them, their activities they did in school, their academics, all these things that kind of come off that sheet that we had that said like work and activities and clubs. All that information is going to be entered into the Common App. So a little bit of information about parents and maybe their educational background, or if parents went to school at certain colleges, because there's scholarships tied to if well, my husband went to Husson, so if one of my kids applied to Husson, they want to know like, hey, did anybody in your family attend Husson, because there's legacy scholarships there, which is awesome. We love free money. So all this information goes in the Common App, but the beauty of it, the community college system, they're not on there. It's just for your colleges, but it's beautiful. You fill out this information and then you kind of go like, all right, I want to add, Boston University, University of Maine, Husson College, and all this information is sent to all those colleges. So they write one essay, which is nice. So they're not filling out, if they want to apply to 5 colleges, they're not filling out 5 different applications. It's one application, they add the colleges. Once in a while, there's, different colleges like have like a couple different, questions, additional questions they might need to fill out that's specific to that college. But it really is a time saver for students who are applying to 2 or more colleges. If my student was applying to University of Maine and Eastern Maine Community College, I wouldn't do the Common Application because they're gonna do a lot more work than they need to. I would have them go on UMaine's website and apply right from there. Go on Eastern Maine's website and apply right from there. So that's kind of part of it. So one thing we tell kids is, make sure when you fill out whatever application you do, make sure you proofread. I had a student, kid you not, top 3 in his class, and I happened to look at it for some reason. He asked me a question and he had spelled his name wrong. And I was like, probably want to spell your name correctly because that's your first impression that you're sending colleges. So we tell them proofread, have a parent take a peek at it. I will say, make sure your student takes that role and they're filling it out and you're not filling it out for them. I've had parents try to, because, we're parents, we're trying to help our kids like start filling out the Common App for them. But sometimes it ends up being like we have to go back and fix things because there are things that they didn't quite know or they got a little wrong. Let your kiddos do that and let us help them. I promise we'll take them through and we'll get them where they need to be. So once that they've applied, they've hit submit on that application, they're going to fill out going to come to guidance, and you're going to say, did you go to guidance and fill out the gold sheet that Miss Martell had showed us tonight? Because that lets us know, okay, Sammy did his job and applied. Now Miss Martell and I can do our jobs. Common App is kind of cool because we upload our transcripts and our letter of recommendations right through there, and it's beautiful because they timestamp everything. So I know when Susie submitted her application, and I also know when UMaine downloaded it. I know when I submitted the transcript or whatever, and I can see when Humane or Hassan or whoever it is has downloaded. So it's nice. So sometimes it eases kiddos' minds. Um, so kind of looking sideways, bear with me
I can
here.
do the scholarship piece if you want, or the acceptance,
Yeah,
but
perfect. Or did you want to do the rest of the, well, I'll finish the piece of, so when they do the gold sheet, now it's the waiting game. They get to wait for their status to come back, whether their acceptance letters. When students are, every college is different. Some colleges send a hard copy. Most of them send a hard copy. Some will send an email, which is fine. But we tell students, like, when you find out, like, either share the email with us or bring in your letter of acceptance. We'll photocopy it, give you back the original. Same thing with like the scholarship piece. Like, for instance, I'll just take Humane for an example, because like a ton of our kids tend to go there. Humane's app, when they send an acceptance letter, typically they're like any merit scholarships are also in there, but some like Hudson tends to send their merit scholarships separately. So we need both of those things so we can copy them. So later on at the night before, when we have scholarship night, we can announce these scholarships, because we can't announce things we don't know about. We set a date of it's like I think it's like the Monday before graduation, is it, Jamie, that we're like, all right, we need to know all the scholarships,
yeah,
outside
the week
scholarships,
before.
yeah, that you've gotten, so we can announce those things. We Once we get those letters that say they're accepted, those are super important, because then now your students are eligible for some of the scholarships, and Jimmy can talk about that, in our school, that they don't need to even apply to. They're just automatically considered. So do you want to talk about that a little bit more, just the whole scholarship
Sure.
thing, Jamie?
Yeah, we have an internal scholarship committee because our school happens to be lucky that we have so many resources to give out. And all they have to do to be eligible is have given us the acceptance letters Kim was talking about. I- we really do need to know once they pick, because some of the scholarships are dependent upon majors or the schools they're going to. So if they could just let us know, um, we have a fun board and guidance, but it goes beyond the board. It helps you get considered for um, our internal scholarships. They try to give out, even if they're small ones, something to everybody who's going on to college and has followed these steps. So, and we also have a scholarship packet. It is not the end all be all. It is not everything that's out there, but over the years, we've compiled a packet of some scholarships that they can flip through and consider if they're eligible. But we also have Remind, as I'm sure many of you have seen. We also email out to the seniors as scholarships come through our office, or the deadlines are coming up or anything like that. Again, it might not be applicable to them, but we're trying to share the information as much as possible in case they do want to take the time to apply, because free money is good money.
Absolutely. If you have not, we've sent out some messages to join Remind. We try to get all of our seniors to join, because that's where we send out every scholarship that comes across our desk. That's kind of an outside scholarship. We'll put on Remind. We'll email students. But I love when parents are on, because then you can also say, hey, did you, like, how about this scholarship? Have you applied to that? Like I said, free money is awesome money. The community colleges in Maine have free tuition again in the upcoming year. But some of this scholarship money can also benefit them, because it could pay for books, or even gas to get to school, or whatever it's supplies that they need, books and so forth. So those are all awesome things that the scholarships, that free money, can go to. If you're not on Remind, because you can sign up, we can get you signed up either via your email, or you could download, it's a free app. we can do it by phone. Just email Jamie or myself and say, hey, love to get hooked up with Remind. And we can help you do that. We can help you do that for sure. So just trying to think of like SATs, those come up all the time. Like we actually have, let's see, I need to put a plug in. So it's a November 4th SAT is the next one that we're hosting. The deadline to sign up for that is October 5th. That needs to be through, they sign up through their College Board accounts. So if students don't remember that, you can have them like send them our way and we can hook them up. A lot of colleges now are what's called test optional. UMaine, Husson, the community colleges, like a lot of out-of-state colleges, even that some of the highly competitive colleges have moved away from requiring SATs for admittance into their college and also for scholarships. So students just need to kind of be aware of like, all right, when I'm applying to a school, do they require SAT scores? And if they do, they're going to want to, like, the best thing to do is jump on. It doesn't hurt to take them. There are some scholarships that still have SAT scores tied to them that you need to report. But like I said, a lot of colleges are moving away from that. So when we send transcripts automatically without SAT scores on there. If students want to send their SAT scores, then they'll send them directly. We'll have them jump on the College Board and send them directly that way as well. There's some out-of-state colleges that wouldn't accept them on our transcripts anyway. But I will say the majority of students choose not to send their SAT scores. And if there's any questions, should I or shouldn't I, send them our way and we can have a conversation about that and see where they're at and make some suggestions.
If they want to take it and finances are a barrier, we have fee waiver code, so they should just see us because if they want to, we have a way to make that happen.
Yeah, so the last thing we have on here is just kind of the infamous college essay. This is like the bane of like the bane of the college application process. To me, it's the most difficult part. Both my kids struggled with it. They were just like, I have no idea what to write about. So I just wanted to share with you. So even though it said 2022, 2023, the same prompts are for this year for the Common App. Like I said, Eastern Maine doesn't require it. UMaine, Husson, UNE, most out-of-state colleges will require it. And if they do the Common App, they'll have to put it in there anyway. So, or have to do it. So these are just, again, some examples. These are the examples of the prompts for this year to help get students, minds going. We have students in our class have to suffer through listening to us talk about it. We're working on it right now. We had our brainstorming session, but I put it out there to all students, like in our seminars, and any student we would love to share. We have this information that we share that we would love to share for kids that aren't in our class. And we'll share the same like tips and tricks. And, we let them know, like, if you want us to, throw eyes on it or to help you through the essay, like, make an appointment, come see us and we'll help you out. We're awesome with content. We talked to a lot of admissions counselors, gone to a lot of webinars and seminars on just what they're looking for admissions officers looking for in the essay. But we always say, like, we're pretty good with like grammar and things like that, but not a bad idea to have an English teacher like lay some eyes on it. So if you're like, definitely feel free, send your student our way or mention to them again. And we've mentioned that we have these resources, tips and tricks and do's and don'ts. We have packets to help with that college essay. So I'm gonna stop sharing and stop sharing here. Maybe I'll stop sharing. Okay.
And then we're gonna stop recording and have a few minute break. We're really close to 7, so it won't be a long break, but
What
and then
we do want to open it up right now, maybe to, and maybe I'll keep recording just for right now. Just if anybody has any questions, like feel free to come off, to come off being muted and ask a question or put it in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer that. And we'll stay on also a little bit after, or to try to answer some questions too. Want to be respectful of your time. We appreciate it. It's kind of a long night, so lots of information. So wait, does it anybody have any like burning questions? I apologize. We talked your ear off and had a lot of information thrown at you. And any time, please don't hesitate. You're not bugging us. Shoot us an email. Let us know if you have any questions. So, all right, I'm not seeing any questions right now. So why don't we let's do like a 3-minute break and like go to the bathroom, go get a drink, go grab a cup of coffee. And we'll, I'll keep this going, but we'll reconvene at 7, and then Mila will take over and get us to the FAFSA.